1984, a year of cultural shifts, political tensions, and a song that captured the loneliness of an entire generation. Smalltown Boy by Bronski Beat was a lifeline for those who felt out of place, misunderstood, or forced to leave everything behind. Smalltown Boy told a deeply personal story, one that mirrored lead singer Jimmy Somerville's own journey. A boy escaping the suffocation of a small town prejudice, seeking refuge in the anonymity of a big city. Somerville arrived in London in 1980. Just 19 years old, living in squats before forming Bronski Beat with Steve Bronski and Larry Steinbachek. More than a band, they were three outsiders united by music and a shared experience of discrimination. The band's sound was raw, emotional, and undeniably electronic, but it was their honesty that set them apart. When they wrote Small Town Boy, they were documenting a painful truth through a song. The music video made the song's message even clearer. A young man longing for connection, met with violence and rejection. Forced to leave, he boards a train, alone, until his friends find him. A quiet moment of solidarity in a world that had cast him out. This was a reality for so many LGBTQ+ youth, the pain of exile, the hope of finding a place to belong, and in Small Town Boy, they found their anthem. Small Town Boy came to life almost by accident when the band was experimenting with the cover of Pretty Vacant. Using an MC202 to sequence a simple octavian bass line, they slowed it down, and the melody began to take a new shape. Larry Steinbachek played bass and led lines on a Sequential Circuits Pro 1, while Steve Bronski handled chords on a DX7 and a memory moog, layering warm textures with sharp digital tones. A LinnDrum machine provided the rhythmic backbone, with sequences and effects recorded on a Porto Studio. Producer Mick Thorne introduced the synclavier, which was used for deep bass notes, vocal harmonies, and even created sampling. At one point, the band spent an afternoon smashing milk bottles for sound design. To further enhance the mix, the synclavier was processed through a Surge modular system to add analog warmth and depth. While working on the 12-inch version of Y in New York, the band faced technical challenges with the SMPTE Sync 24-track machines, emphasizing the balance between creative exploration and the overwhelming nature of high-tech production. Despite these hurdles, the result was a deeply emotive synth-pop anthem that captured the isolation and longing at the heart of the song's narrative. It was one of the first openly gay records in mainstream pop. A song that didn't just hint at its meaning, it declared it. Decades later, Small Town Boy remains a symbol of resilience. A song for the outsiders, the dreamers, and the ones who had to start over. Because sometimes living isn't just an escape, it's survival. In my studio, I'm going to be using a Sequential Circuits Pro 1, for the beats, the LinnDrum drum machine, and a Casio digital synth as a replacement for the DX7. I will be using also a few additional software synths and some plugins to shape the final track. Okay, so here we are with the LinnDrum. We're going to be recording the drum beats of the track by the Bronski Beat Smalltown Boy using the LinnDrum. And there's little variations here and there that I might take it to Logic Pro and just produce it right there. So in the meantime, I'm just going to be putting like the basic parts of the track and then pass it through the Logic Pro. So let's start recording. Let's see how this sounds. Okay, so now we're gonna go with the part that is the verse. Okay, now we have that part that was more simple. This is the last part that includes the claps. And I think we have all our elements of the LinnDrum complete. So now let's go with the Pro 1. So now we're gonna be using the Pro 1 to record the bass lines. The Pro 1 was actually very used by people like Vince Clarke, former Depeche Mode member and creator of Yazoo, or in the United States, more known as Jazz, and also Erasure. So we're gonna be recording here. There's a second part that is kind of like the bridge of the song. Then we have a third part that is actually very similar to the first part, like how it starts the song, the verses part of the song. But instead of going up, it goes an octave down, you're gonna see. Basically, that's the part, and then it returns to the regular bass line. Okay, so now we have the probably most important part, that is the lead. Okay, so now we're gonna record the pad. Okay, so now that we have the pad already recorded, there's a long kind of pad that stays longer, so let's record that as well. And almost last but not least, we have some kind of xylophone. Actually, this has an amazing sound, but it sounds, I didn't have to do anything with it. And with this, we have basically all the parts of our song, with the exception of the conga. The conga is played actually live, and I do not have actually the conga, but I'm gonna be putting that. I don't know if I'm gonna maybe use a bongo, which I have some bongos here, or I might use a sound on Logic Pro. And finally, we have kind of this brass that is going way to the end of the song. So this might be not the closest sound, but I'm gonna try to do it. It has a little bit of pitch bend, so let's record it. Yeah, I have to be very careful using the pitch, because if not, it goes like super high, so I don't want to do that. So I think we have now finally all of our parts, with the exception of the congas, as I mentioned, but we're gonna add that probably in Logic Pro. So we're gonna be putting together all these pieces and start adding some of the effects and plugins to make it as close as possible.